So these are the ingredients for my low-carb homemade garlic naan. Starting off with the dry ingredients. We have here some organic butter wheat gluten. We're going to be using 1 cup or 120 grams. Next up, we have some bamboo fiber, and we're going to be using also 1 cup or approximately 64 grams. Next, we have some powdered allulose. We're going to be using approximately 1/3 cup or 48 grams. Next up, we have some organic coconut flour. Although the brand says that it's fine and slightly sweet, I believe that from a lot of different type of coconut flours I have tried, this one has the least amount of coconut flour and is the most effective. Little goes a long way, so I'm going to be using about 1/4 cup of this, which is about 30 grams. Next up, we have some organic all-purpose einkorn flour, something new that I'm going to be working with. I've been using the whole wheat version of this flour for quite some time and have had a lot of success with those recipes, so this will be the first time I'm using the all-purpose variety. So for starters, we're going to be only using 1/4 cup, which is also about 30 grams. Next, got some beef gelatin. I'm going to be taking this, and based off of my research, you're supposed to use about 4 times the amount of water or any type of liquid cold in order to bloom the gelatin. So I'm going to go ahead and bloom the gelatin. It's going to be about 20 grams of gelatin and possibly about 80 grams or more of water. And then I'm going to probably melt it by adding some additional hot water on top of it. They also say you can use the microwave in increments of 20 to 30 seconds on a low heat. But I think I'm just going to use the hot water to melt it that way. So once again, I'm using 20 grams of this, or about 1/8 of a cup, which is also 2 tablespoons. Next, I have me some whole psyllium husk. Now, I do not purchase the psyllium husk powder because I've heard a lot of reviews that if you use that variety, it can change the color of your baked goods, making it turn purple in some cases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons, which is 10 grams. I'm going to put it into my little mini processor, and I'm going to grind it down into a finer powder. And yeah, I'm going to add that into the recipe, 2 tablespoons, 10 grams. A lot of baking powders out there are double acting. You know, they react with heat and they react with liquid. This one is, I believe, a single acting baking powder where it only reacts with heat. And although it's a little bit more pricier than what you find in the stores, doesn't have any trace cornstarch in it or anything else like that. So this is more truly like a 0-carb baking powder, which is, in my opinion, very powerful. And if you're serious about your baking, it's worth the money. So I'm gonna go with maybe 1 tablespoon. I'm thinking about 2 teaspoons, but 1 tablespoon is about 9 grams. Next up, possibly my favorite instant yeast to use. Fresh yeast is probably always best, but can't go wrong with some instant yeast. In this case, I'm going to be using this Safra Saf Instant Yeast, the gold variety, and I'm going to be using which is about 1 tablespoon, 8 grams. Now we're making garlic naan, so we need some garlic. So right here we have some garlic powder from Whole Foods. One of my favorite variety of garlic powder. It's really good, pure flavor. I'm going to go with about 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, which is about 6.4 grams. Next up, we have some Bob's Red Mill guar gum. You're only going to need about 1 teaspoon of that, which is approximately 3.2 grams. Next, we have the Now Foods brand xanthan gum. This is the xanthan gum that I've been using for years, most comfortable with. We're also going to be using 1 teaspoon of this, which is about 3.2 grams. And lastly, we have here some salt from Sprouts. I like this salt because it's a little less saltier, if that even makes sense. It's pretty good salt. I'm only going to be using about 1/2 teaspoon, which is 2.4 grams. Just so you can see for yourself, I have here my food scale, my measuring bowl, you know, whatever, my mixing bowl, whatever I'm going to put my dry ingredients in, and on top of it I have my sifter. So I'm going to make sure and pass all of my dry ingredients through the sifter before it goes into the bowl. Right now I've already pre-measured my first ingredient, which was organic vital wheat gluten. So I got all the dry ingredients in there, minus the beef gelatin. Got that blooming in some water. Gonna wait a couple more minutes and I'm gonna pop it in the microwave. Put it in there on low heat for about 20 to 30 seconds, little by little until it's fully melted. Yeah, but all the other dry ingredients are in here. Blended up the psyllium husk powder, that's in there too. And once I sifted everything into the bowl, I gave it a whisk to make sure everything was thoroughly incorporated together. So what we have here now is the dough after all the dry ingredients were sifted and whisked together. Then I added the bloom gelatin. I popped it in the microwave for about 30 seconds until it fully melted, along with 2 tablespoons of my homemade garlic compound butter. Then I whisked up 3 eggs, combined all the wet ingredients with the dry, kneaded the dough for about 5 to 7 minutes, and now I have it here sitting in the mixing bowl, resting for about 15 minutes to allow the gluten to relax before I divide this into 6 and roll them out for the garlic naan. Now I have my dough ball after that has been resting for about 15 to 20 minutes. Got my rolling pin ready. I'm gonna go ahead and divide this into 6. Now I have all the dough divided evenly by 6. And for me, after I finished weighing it, it came out to be about approximately 113 grams, or roughly equivalent to 4 ounces. Here I have my first naan, my first low-carb garlic naan rolled out. It's not a perfect circle. Naan isn't really meant to be perfectly round like a tortilla. But if you wanted to get some type of reference, it's roughly about 8 to 9 inches in an oval type diameter. So yeah, now I'm just going to go ahead and wait for my pot to warm up. And don't have a tandoori right now, so I'm just going to go with what we got. Although you may not be able to see it all that clearly, right here I have about 2 tablespoons roughly of some melted garlic ghee from 4th and Heart, my favorite and only brand of ghee that I use right now. And obviously we're using garlic naan, or rather we're making garlic naan, so it makes sense to use some garlic ghee to go with it. Now I threw my garlic naan into the pot on the lowest heat possible, and I'm going to go ahead and cook it up for about 3 to 4 minutes per side. Alright, so this is what we're working with so far. This is my first garlic naan. I basted it some more with a little bit extra garlic ghee once it came out the pot. It took me about 6 minutes in total, about 3 minutes per side. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook up the rest of these, and I'll show you how it looks when it's all finished. And here we are with my homemade low-carb garlic naan with fresh chopped parsley, some minced garlic thrown on top. This recipe yielded 6 garlic naans. As you can tell, each one of them got a little bit of love. So, if you have an opportunity, try out the recipe for yourself. I'll put the ingredients in the list in the video. And leave a comment, let me know if you try it, if you liked it, how it came out. Yeah, thanks for watching.